You are always creating, you are always imagining, and you are, in a way, always manifesting. That's why self-talk becomes so critical when it comes to manifesting, because we are, in a way, always manifesting, because we're always having this self-talk, we are always having some kind of imaginary conversations in our head. This is something that I had to learn the hard way, that I was always having some kind of imaginary conversations in my head. And only when I actually started reflecting on it, I realized how many I was having and how it was really impacting my life. My name is Rohit, and give this video a like if you like the content so it can reach more people like us. And I've been studying about manifesting and law of attraction for years now, and I've come to make it more systematic and easier to understand for others. So what happens with self-talk? This is the key. This is the essential thing. Is, for example, this is what I used to do. You go to work, and then in the lunchtime, when you're a little bit relaxed, maybe you're having food with your friends, and then you're talking something about work, maybe something slightly negative. And then you go, maybe you spend the whole day like that. When you go in evening, maybe when you're relaxing on a couch, or maybe you're having a couple of drinks with your friends or sometime, and you call your friend or you talk about, okay, my life is so difficult, my health's not improving, it's so difficult to work with my coworkers, this is so hard, I'm always making so less money, I'm always working this hard. So I was constantly having this negative self-talk. And because I was having this negative self-talk constantly, what kept happening is these things kept repeating and kept happening over and over and over again in my life. And then I realized, if these things keep happening over and over again, it is partially, in many ways, it is my fault. And then I read books from Neville, Goddard, from Esther Hicks, other spiritual books, and they talked about when you have these negative thoughts, you just let them go. You don't engage with them. And then I realized, and Neville Goddard also talks about like inner conversation, all these things are really important. A lot of people who talk about the subconscious mind really focus on inner conversations. So basically, when we are in a relaxed state, especially when you take a break from lunch, maybe some people like to smoke, some people like to drink, and when they're smoking and drinking, if most likely they're talking to a friend, and they're most likely complaining about something, or some kind of negative thing in their life. Or they're having an imaginary conversation in their head. They're imagining having arguments with someone or their co-workers. They're imagining getting less paid, less recognition. And all these things actually get manifested into their reality. I was like, I have to really catch myself. How do I do it? So what I started doing is, first, at the beginning, at the end of every day, like around as soon as I finish my work, when I go back, I would kind of write on the way. I used to take public transport. On the way on the public transport, how many negative thoughts did I have? Like a rough estimation, right? Was I generally more positive and more negative? I just started doing this self-reflection, right? Even though I did not have the exact numbers, how many, just by doing this little bit of self-reflection, I was really able to get clear on, okay, I was quite negative for that day, or I was generally more positive, and sometimes some people will say something and say, oh my God, like we are not making enough money. And I would say, you know what, this is a recession time, or this is a hard time for our industry. We still have a job. We should be grateful for it. I started flipping these things, because I realized, okay, this is a negativity coming from me, or like my friend is also trying to engage into my negativity. So I'm not gonna, engage in it. I recognize it for what it is. I saw it. I did not resist it, but I simply switched the conversation. And so slowly I became this positive person, and more people wanted to hang around me. Before, I was this quiet, reserved person who did not speak much, and I used to think a lot of negative, but I wouldn't say it. But now I started saying positive things, and a lot of people started hanging around, because they don't know why, but they were drawn to my positivity. And then a lot of things started happening. I got more opportunities. I got opportunities to travel abroad. My salary literally quadrupled because I was working abroad. And I got opportunities to travel, the places I always wanted to be. I got opportunities to, make some kind of big impact in the world. And I was like, okay, all these great things started happening. What it is that I was doing these, just catching myself when I was being negative, especially when I was relaxed. So this is a key when it comes to subconscious mind, right? Our subconscious mind is really susceptible when we are in a relaxed state. So be very, very careful when you take a coffee break or a smoking break, or you're drinking with your friends, or you're just relaxing on the couch, or you're relaxing with your spouse, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, or partner, and just talking about negative things. That is going to easily get impressed on your subconscious. It's not that every negative thought gets impressed on your subconscious mind, but these constant things, especially when we are in a relaxed state, are really highly likely to get impressed on your subconscious mind. So there are 3 things you can do. What I learned, first thing is a daily reflection, but sometimes the challenge with daily reflection is by the end of the day, sometimes we are not really sure like how positive I was or how negative I was. Ideally, you should be checking in every hour or every 2 hours. But I can understand that we are busy, so every 3 hours is something ideal. Like people go, to work at 9, they work to 12, they take a lunch break. That's an ideal time to do reflection. Just ask your friend, I'm just gonna take a minute. Maybe you can go to the washroom or go to a balcony or place quietly and just think about it, reflect, and write it in a diary. I always carry like a small diary and I write my thoughts in here, right? So it really helps me, and I just ask myself, what did I do well? Was I mostly positive or was mostly negative? How was my inner self-talk? And I just focused on really getting that inner self-talk, really getting it to a place where I feel like, okay, today I was generally a very positive person, right? And if too many days in a row I'm feeling that I'm not a negative person, it could be I'm feeling burned out, so I would rather take a break or go on a holiday, or just spend time with myself alone, do something I love like playing music, drawing, or maybe even like reading or playing video games, whatever you like to do, which takes you out of the negative thought loop, right? The second thing you can do is actually start a gratitude journal. Very, very powerful, very, very underrated thing, because what happens when we start a positive gratitude journal, generally people, when they start writing gratitude journals, they already are in a relaxed state. Generally people don't write the gratitude like in between the workday. They will generally do it at the morning when they just got up, or at the end of the night when they're about to sleep. So that is when you're in a relaxed state, you're reminding yourself of positive things, and those positive instances are very highly likely to get impressed in subconscious mind. And the more they get impressed, the more they get expressed. The more these thoughts and these beliefs get impressed in your subconscious mind, the more they are created in your 3D reality. This is like something I used to not believe in at all, because I was like computer science engineer. I studied computer science, very logical, very scientific thinking, blah, 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 and I did not believe in it. But there have been studies which show on a consistent basis that people who do meditation, their cognitive capabilities improve. People who do gratitude journaling, their cognitive capabilities improve. They have better memory, better retention, they're happier, they're calmer, and it was scientifically proven. I'm like, okay, there is scientific proof to this and it works. I'm just gonna try it. So do that. I highly recommend you do this for at least 21 days. I recommend you do it for 30 days in a row. But at the minimum, you need to do it for 21 days in a row. Set an alarm every day. Like now I can't live with my phone. There was a time I actually ditched my smartphone and I used a very simple dumb phone. But the thing is, it did not have alarms in it. It did have alarm, but it wasn't like, it didn't have label on it. So now I have a smartphone. I deleted most of the app. I just have very simple basic apps which I really need. And I set timers, right? And also like Google notifications synced. So I get a notification or a timer goes off and it says time for meditation or time for gratitude or time for visualization. Literally it goes off, and like sometimes I'm hanging out with my friends, or sometimes if I'm with my girlfriend, it would just pop up and ring, and they would be like, what's that? Like it's time for my visualization or something. And they used to find it really weird at the beginning, but then they got used to it. And I would say, can you give me 5 minutes? I'll be back. So I would just go outside with my diary, or I would just go somewhere quiet, or just go to the washroom if you really have to. Just jot it down quickly in my journal. This book actually fits in my pocket easily. You can get a smaller one. So that's a second practical advice you can do to really take your manifesting and your success to the next level. The final thing and the last thing that I really highly recommend is you start some kind of a visualization exercise or an inner conversation exercise, right? So just after you do your gratitude, this is what I do. First, I do like a breathing exercise where I relax myself, I take deep breaths, and as I exhale the deep breath, I feel like all this stress is leaving. So I can give you an example. Like I say, inhale deeply, and as you exhale, release all the stress from your body. I would like give myself a gentle reminder. Again, inhale deeply and release all the stress from your mind and your body. So I would like, when I exhale, I release the stress, and then I was like, think about 3 things you're grateful for, big or small, in the last 3 days. And then I think about 3 things I'm grateful for in the last 3 days. It's like the nice cup of coffee I got. Some of my friends said like I'm doing great work, and I learned a new song and I really enjoyed practicing it. So very small things, but it puts me in a state of gratitude. And then I would like visualize something positive, right? So like it's kind of like you're creating assumptions. That's what Neville Goddard says, right? You're creating assumptions. For example, I always think I'm always in debt. I'm like, I can't get rid of this debt. I'm like always have to struggle for money, blah blah blah. Instead, I would imagine I have more than enough in my bank account. All my bills are still paid for, all my debts are clear, and I still have more than enough in my bank account. Isn't it amazing? Isn't it wonderful? Wow, isn't it wonderful? And I just used a small word, like 3 words. Isn't it wonderful? Comes from Neville Goddard as well. Just use it. Isn't it wonderful? I have more than enough money left after paying off all my debts, all my expenses. Isn't it wonderful? Isn't it wonderful? And I would just repeat that and say to myself for a few minutes, and that's it. That is all you need to do. You do not need to worry about or think about constantly obsessively trying to catch each and every negative thought. It's really, really hard to do. So what you do is set a timer for 3 hours, catch yourself, or at the end of the day, do a reflection, do a gratitude journal, and then do a small visualization or an inner conversation exercise, which takes you out of that negative state you're in, or in the negative self-talk or the inner conversations you're having, and puts you in a positive state. So that's all I wanted to share. I hope you really like this video. Please give this video a like, and I want so that this message can reach more people, and that will be just something amazing. I always felt like like some of my clients, they actually really inspired me. They told me like, your message is really powerful, you should share, it's gonna change hundreds and thousands of lives. And my goal at a point was like, if I change 10,000 lives, that will be great. And actually, I'm owner of multiple Facebook groups, and both of them have cumulatively over 15,000 subscribers, right? So in a way, I've already surpassed my goal already, because I always imagined I did it, and I had to do very little work. In the beginning, I had to get the ball rolling, but now I have people who are so engaged in the group, who keep sharing stuff, and sometimes I just go and share some positive stuff as well. But it's grown, and I've literally touched 10,000 plus lives that I wanted to do at a point in time. So now I have bigger goals, bigger ambitions, and that's what I wanted to do. That's what I want to do. And hope you got really great value out of this video. Inner self-talk is super critical, and it's really going to be a game changer if you do it on a consistent basis. Consistency is the mother of mastery. That is what Robin Sharma says, and it is really important to remember that if you're not being consistent, you will not get good results. So you have to be consistent, and you will get great results. So I wish you great success in your life, on your manifesting journey, and I will see you next time. Take care.